Father gotta do? What?
Hi, my name is, you already know my name is Japanese Tutor, and we're back at it again. We're going to be doing some more Sicilian Dragon stuff. Get ready for all the lessons and all the knowledge right now. Today we're going to be going over the F3 plan, F2, F3 plan for white. And if you did not know, if you hit the like button, you gain 5 ELO points. So like every video and you might be Grandmaster soon. Subscribe. Just do it. It's free. Please. And join the Discord. As always, I'm going to be leaving some of the links to the games down below. Also, if you want to follow along with this book, link is going to be down below for that. If you get it, it's an affiliated link. It's going to give me 20 cents. So I need all the 20 cents that I can. So get it. Get the book. Buy stuff. Thanks. Bye. So let's get right into it. So the book says, and the text says, after white's F2, F3, white typically throws his kingside pawns forward and tries to trade off black's king's bishop with bishop e2 and queen d2. When Bobby Fischer popularized another wrinkle, posting the king's bishop on c4, white attack won so often that it seems like all he needed to do was sack, and mate. And this is actually a saying that Bobby Fischer used to say. Black's difficulty is underlined by what happens if he takes the logical step of eliminating one of the attacking bishops. So we're going to go over a not so ideal plan, and then after that we're going to go over an ideal plan. So let's see. The first step. Okay. E4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c captures d4, knight captures d4, knight f6, knight c3, and then g6, going into the dragon. Here we go. Bishop e3. Bam. Bishop g7. F3. Knight c6. Queen d2. Castles. Bishop c4. Knight a5. So knight a5 is a newer move. I like it. I like it a lot. So after knight a5, bishop b3, knight captures b3, and then a captures b3. So they're basically saying, hey, I'm going to take away this bishop because this bishop is usually very, very strong. But guess what? Now your knight can never occupy c4, which is a big target in the Sicilian structures, or at least in the dragon structure, right? So I can attack down the a file for free, right? You always have to keep this pressure in mind, even though it's not a threat right now, or they can't execute that threat, or they can't do anything on that line. Later on, that's the target, and it becomes weak. And these pawns, although doubled, might be a bit strong because they can play here, they can play b4 twice as well. So that's also pretty good. So if you imagine a world where this b pawn comes down, they're like, okay, and now they get another b pawn coming down, which might be good in some lines. So the book says white retook with a pawn because it strengthens his intended king position after castles. Black can't occupy c4 now and won't get much benefit from a rook capture c3 sacrifice, which is a sacrifice that in the Sicilian is one of the resources for breaking the pawns up. Now it doesn't really make sense because they're already doubled, but now you're just going to help them, and now they're going to be on the c file, which is great. So where will black's counterplay come from? He can't attack the e4 pawn, as in the f2, f4 dragons, and d5 is dubious. So as a result, white is free in the diagram to attack. Which is crazy because sometimes you're like, okay, this bishop is no longer hitting my f7 square, so I should be okay. But let's see. So bishop d7, going along with the same plan. h4. a6 is kind of weak. I prefer you playing h5. Like as a dragon player, whenever I see h4, I'll play h5, but the text says a6, so let's go with the text. Because this book is not about openings, but more about pawn structure. Okay? We're not looking at the openings here. We're looking at what's happening with the pawn structure. And h5. So he says that he can win without the queen's rook at all, since all the pieces are pointed or pointing at black's king side. So h5. If black grabs a pawn, let's say the move that they should play, or the move that was played in one of the games, is rook c8. Okay. If he tries to grab a pawn with knight captures here, then g4, knight f6, and I think bishop h6 is which white attacks rolls with bishop a6. Yep, bishop h6, followed by bishop captures g7 and queen h6, and we have a lot of threats. And I think if you put this into an engine, you'll probably get this as plus 1.5 or plus 2 for white, which means that, yeah, they're better. So going back into it, so he played rook c8. This game, or this plan was tried by black and by Yefim Geller against Boris Spassky. So Boris Spassky was white, and so after rook c8, bishop h6, e5, knight d2. Obviously, you have to bring the knight back. Bishop e6, g4, and queen c7. So he says better is if you just play here, here, and just here, queen e7. That's a little bit better, but it's still looking kind of bleak for the second player. Okay. Okay, so here, 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 and then queen c7. Bam. Knight g3. b5, b4, and b4 stops any play, and then make this square a backwards pawn, grabs control of the c5 square, and guess what? Now you can even play b3, and they don't have any control of the c4 square at some point. Not right now, because this is hanging, right? And you can't do it. Bam, this is hanging. But later on, it might be good to play b3. So now these two pawns would be really, really strong together, showing the strength of some of the double pawns. Not all of them are bad. So after b4, queen c6, maybe trying to go for a d5. Bishop captures g7, king captures g7, h captures g6, f captures g6, and queen h6. So this is basically how dangerous the attack goes. And after king g8, then g5, and now you're losing a whole bunch of stuff. You do not want to go into this, and this is just very easy to play against. And obviously the knight's already on g3, so this is just GG. Like, yeah, I mean, you can try to defend, but you know, like, everything wins here. Everything just wins. So I like g6 a lot. I think the best move actually is here. Rook captures h5 is still winning. Not even the best move, but it is still winning. Like, every move you play is just basically winning, with the exception of probably queen g7. Okay, and also if you want to come on and ask some questions, join the chat. The link's down below, twitch.tv/JapaneseTutor. So if 8 bishop d7 instead of knight c6, when black has no longer access to d5 after white's castle, the correct exploit to castle there is, oh, to play castle instead of bishop c4. I see. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Oh, right. Okay, thank you. That's what I was asking before. Okay, great. So let's go into what happens in another game. So the chief liability of white's plan is that his advanced pawns can turn out to be overextended in an endgame. So we're going to take another game into account. So going to normal dragon stuff, going basically the same lines. And after f3, we're going to say the castles variation. Okay. After castles, queen d2, knight c6, super easy. Knight captures d4, captures here, and then bishop e6, king b1, queen c7, g4, rook fc8, h4, queen a5, knight d5, and queen captures d2. And obviously you don't have this little check here first because the bishop is not out, so they don't protect each other. So after you take, you must recapture the queen, and then we take your knight. So that's not good, right? So they play knight captures here, captures here, captures here, captures here, here, and here. So white's pawns can turn into a liability because they are so far advanced now. And you have to be careful about this as the first player. You know, you want, it's because d5 is a really, really strong threat in some lines. And here, you know, you have the same colored bishop, and that usually favors the attacking side. And the reason that Sicilians are usually better, or the common saying that Sicilians endgames are better for black, is because their pawn structure is amazing. Whereas your pawn structure is out over here. You know, we have 5 versus 4. And oh, yes, we have 3 versus 2 over here, but we also have this middle pawn. And we have control of the C file, which makes up for it. And here it's about drawish, but black has a slight edge. So, thank you for following. All right, so I wasn't gonna go over this plan, but let's go over this plan in the same video, just an additional thing. We're gonna go over the positional knight d5. So one of the most favorable dragon pawn structures for white appears after, let's see, I'm just gonna show you some stuff. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the basic structure arises in several openings, not only the dragon, but it can appears in the English opening, the King's Indian defense, and the Aleakan defense. So we'll go over the Aleakan defense here, and again, this is not this is by no means an opening book or the opening lesson. This is a pawn structure lesson. So take note of the pawn structure. You might need to go back a few times, but take note of the pawn structure and the plans that we go for based on the pawn structure. If you want an opening lesson, check out my Sicilian or Dragon Theory lesson before. It's like a few videos ago. That one's really good. And the tricks. So after that, knight d5, d4, d6. Just mainline stuff here. c4, knight b6. E captures d5, and you depend on which way you want to take. You can c captures d6. Bishop e3. g6. d5. And this is called the Marco hop position. It arises most often in the Sicilian defense when white plants a knight on d5 and black captures it, and white retakes with its e-pawn. So this happens a lot after the knight goes here, and then after they'll push c4. They'll take with the e-pawn, maybe the pawn's on f3, and yeah, this position has happened many times, and I've had it many times. The idea goes back to at least 1895 when George Marco of Romania used it. The Marco hop was born. Some favorable pawn structures deteriorate if minor pieces are traded, but even without minor pieces, this formation favors white because he enjoys such an edge in space, which is cool. Now we're looking at the pawn structure. So let's see what happens. So e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c captures d4, knight captures d4, knight f6, knight c3, d6, bishop e2, g6, and I think this is the old way to get into the dragon. So after g6, bishop e3, bishop g7, castles, and of course this is in 1911. So pretty old game, but still amazing for our lesson. So after castles, h3, bishop d7, queen d2, a6, a4, rook c8, knight captures c6, bishop captures c6, bishop f3, knight d7, bishop d4, trying to trade off the pieces, knight e5, bishop e2, bishop d7, knight d5, bishop e6, f4, and after f4, bishop captures d5, captures here, knight c4, and actually they give bishop captures d5 a question mark here. Then bishop captures c4, rook captures c4, bishop captures g7, king captures g7, b3, queen b6 check, king goes somewhere, I think. King h2, sorry, king h2, queen, this has to go somewhere, queen d4, trying to trade off queens, queen e2, rook c7, and c4. So after c4, white can pile up against e7 or open the king side with f4, f5. Black helped him here. So look, now that we know that the pawn structure, this is the Marco Hop pawn structure, we know that we are enjoying a lot of space, so we can try to trade down our pieces. That's the first plan. Go after this e7 pawn. Second plan, open up the king side. Third plan. So these are the plans that we know we should play when we have this Marco Hop structure. Queen f6, rook a to e1, piling up pressure here and here. Rook b8, maybe saying, hey, I'm gonna go over here, and then f5. And I mean, they helped him. Maybe you should play g5 here. But okay, they played here. G captures f5. Once white recaptures on f5, queen d3. Rook g8. Maybe they can try to get some play over here. And then rook captures here. And I mean, just white won after that. Queen g6. Rook e f1. Piling pressure here, and yeah. Basically GG after that.